requirements for service entrance separation in apartment complexes are not universally defined and can vary significantly depending on the local authority having jurisdiction, also known as the AHJ. Some AHJ may permit the installation of two separate electrical services in a single apartment complex without requiring a firewall, while others might mandate a firewall to effectively divide the building into two distinct structures from an electrical service perspective. It is crucial to understand that the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, through its NFPA 70, commonly known as the National Electrical Code or NEC, establishes minimum standards for electrical installations. However, the NEC doesn't explicitly address the separation of electrical services specifically within apartment complexes, leaving it to the local AHJ to interpret and enforce specific requirements based on local building codes and safety concerns. A diagram or example presented in resources like Mike Cole's book might not accurately reflect the current code requirements or the specific interpretations of your local AHJ. It is always recommended consulting directly with the local AHJ to get the most up-to-date and relevant guidelines for your specific project. The figure from such a book could be interpreted in different ways, leading to different requirements. Firstly, two separate buildings could exist. If the figure illustrates two completely separate and detached buildings, each having its own independent electrical service entrance, a separation distance of 12 meters, roughly 40 feet, between the services might be deemed acceptable. In this scenario, each building is treated as a standalone structure with its own electrical infrastructure. Secondly, one building with two services could exist. If the figure depicts a single building that has two electrical services, the AHJ might require the installation of a firewall to physically separate the building into two independent sections. The firewall has to meet specific requirements for 2-hour fire separation rating, meaning it is designed to withstand fire for at least 2 hours, preventing it spread from one section of the building to another. The absence of specific information regarding the local AHJ requirements makes it impossible to definitively state whether the figure is accurate for your particular location and project. Always contact the local AHJ to determine the exact requirements applicable to your project. Failing to do so can result in costly rework and delays along with potential safety hazards. Electrical service requirements for multi-unit dwellings can be complex, with differing interpretations and enforcement based on local regulations. Understanding these nuances is critical for safe and compliant electrical installations. When dealing with electrical services in apartment complexes, it is essential to consider several key aspects. These include the service size and capacity, the distribution of loads within the building, the grounding and bonding requirements, and the overcurrent protection measures. Firstly, determine the service size and capacity. The size of the electrical service must be adequate to handle the total load of the apartment complex. This includes the individual apartment loads, common area loads, and any future expansion needs. A load calculation should be performed in accordance with the NEC to determine the minimum service size required. Secondly, understand the distribution of loads within the building. The electrical loads within the apartment complex need to be distributed evenly across the available services. This helps to prevent overloading of any one service and ensures a balanced electrical system. Thirdly, adhere to grounding and bonding requirements. Proper grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. The grounding system must be installed in accordance with the NEC to provide a low impedance path for fault currents. Bonding ensures that all metallic parts of the electrical system are electrically connected, minimizing the risk of electric shock. Fourthly, implement overcurrent protection measures. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are necessary to protect the electrical system from overloads and short circuits. These devices should be properly sized and installed in accordance with the NEC. The NEC provides detailed guidelines for calculating electrical loads, sizing conductors and overcurrent protection devices, and installing grounding and bonding systems. It is crucial to adhere to these guidelines to ensure safe and compliant electrical installation. Firstly, calculate the electrical loads. The NEC specifies various methods for calculating electrical loads, including the standard method and the optional method. The standard method is more conservative and is generally used for larger installations. The optional method is simpler and can be used for smaller installations. Secondly, size conductors and overcurrent protection devices. The size of the conductors must be adequate to carry the calculated load current. The overcurrent protection devices must be sized to protect the conductors from overloads and short circuits. Thirdly, install grounding and bonding systems. The grounding system must be installed in accordance with the NEC to provide a low impedance path for fault currents. The bonding system ensures that all metallic parts of the electrical system are electrically connected, minimizing the risk of electric shock. In addition to the NEC, local building codes and regulations may impose additional requirements for electrical installations in apartment complexes. It is essential to consult with the local AHJ to determine the specific requirements for your project. These requirements may include things like fire rating of electrical enclosures, the placement of service disconnects, and the use of specific types of wiring methods. Firstly, fire rating of electrical enclosures may be required. Electrical enclosures that are installed in fire-rated walls or ceilings must have a fire resistance rating that is equal to or greater than the fire resistance rating of the wall or ceiling. Secondly, specific placement of service disconnects might be required. The location of the service disconnects must be readily accessible to authorized personnel. The AHJ may have specific requirements for the placement of service disconnects in apartment complexes. Thirdly, specific types of wiring methods might be required by the AHJ. The AHJ may require the use of specific types of wiring methods in apartment complexes. For example, armored cable or conduit may be required in certain areas of the building. When planning an electrical installation in an apartment complex, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor. A qualified professional can help you to determine the specific requirements for your project and ensure that the electrical system is installed safely and in compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. They can perform load calculations, select appropriate equipment, and ensure proper installation techniques are followed. Firstly, qualified electrical engineers can assist. Electrical engineers are trained to design electrical systems that meet specific requirements. They can perform load calculations, select appropriate equipment, and ensure that the electrical system is safe and reliable. Secondly, qualified electrical contractors can assist. Electrical contractors are licensed and insured to install and maintain electrical systems. They are familiar with the NEC and local building codes and regulations. Dealing with multiple electrical services in a multi-unit building introduces complexities that demand careful consideration. It's essential to evaluate the capacity of each service, ensure proper load balancing across all services, and establish clear protocols for maintenance and troubleshooting. Proper documentation is crucial, including detailed electrical diagrams and service panel schedules. These records should be readily available to qualified personnel for inspections, repairs, and future modifications. Clear labeling of all electrical components such as panels, circuits, and disconnects is essential for safety and efficient operation. This labeling should be durable and easy to understand, even in low light conditions. Coordination between the building owner, property manager, and electrical contractor is essential for effective management of the electrical system. Regular communication and collaboration can help to identify and address potential problems before they escalate. The maintenance of electrical systems is a crucial aspect of ensuring safety and reliability in any building, particularly in apartment complexes. Regular inspections, testing, and preventative maintenance can help to identify and address potential problems before they lead to failures or safety hazards. Firstly, conduct regular inspections. Electrical systems should be inspected regularly to identify any signs of damage, wear, or deterioration. Inspections should include checking for loose connections, corroded components, and damaged wiring. Secondly, perform regular testing. Electrical systems should be tested regularly to ensure that they are operating properly. Testing should include checking the voltage, current, and resistance of circuits and components. Thirdly, perform preventative maintenance. Preventative maintenance should be performed regularly to prevent electrical problems from occurring. Preventative maintenance may include cleaning electrical equipment, tightening connections, and replacing worn components. In addition to regular maintenance, it is important to have a plan in place for dealing with electrical emergencies. This plan should include procedures for shutting off power to the building, contacting emergency services, and evacuating tenants. It is also important to have a qualified electrician on call to respond to electrical emergencies. Dealing with electrical emergencies requires a calm and methodical approach to ensure safety and minimize damage. Firstly, it's essential to identify the source of the emergency. This may involve inspecting the electrical panels, wiring, and equipment to determine the cause of the problem. Secondly, safely disconnect the power. If possible, safely disconnect the power to the affected area or the entire building. This may involve using a main disconnect switch or circuit breakers. Thirdly, contact emergency services. If the electrical emergency poses a threat to life or property, immediately contact emergency services, such as the fire department. Fourthly, contact a qualified electrician. A qualified electrician should be called to assess the damage and make repairs. Do not attempt to repair electrical damage yourself unless you are a qualified electrician. Fifthly, communicate with tenants. Keep tenants informed about the situation and provide them with instructions on how to stay safe. Also, fire safety is an important consideration in apartment complexes. Electrical fires can be caused by faulty wiring, overloaded circuits, or misuse of electrical equipment. To prevent electrical fires, it is important to follow these safety tips. Firstly, do not overload circuits. Do not plug too many appliances into one circuit. This can overload the circuit and cause a fire. Secondly, use extension cords safely. Do not use extension cords as a permanent wiring solution. If you need more outlets, have a qualified electrician install them. Thirdly, inspect electrical cords regularly. Inspect electrical cords for damage. Replace any cords that are frayed or damaged. Fourthly, keep electrical equipment clean. Keep electrical equipment clean and free of dust and debris. Dust and debris can overheat and cause a fire. Fifthly, use surge protectors. Use surge protectors to protect your electronic equipment from power surges. Power surges can damage electronic equipment and cause a fire. Furthermore, electrical safety training for tenants is essential to promote awareness and prevent accidents. Tenants should be educated on basic electrical safety practices such as avoiding overloaded outlets, using extension cords safely, and reporting any electrical hazards to the property manager. Providing clear and concise safety guidelines to tenants can help create a safer living environment. Regularly communicating safety tips through newsletters, flyers, or building-wide announcements can reinforce these practices. This information should include instructions on what to do in the event of an electrical emergency, such as a power outage or a fire. In conclusion, navigating the complexities of electrical services in apartment complexes requires a comprehensive understanding of the NEC local building codes and the specific requirements of the AHJ. Consulting with qualified professionals, implementing robust maintenance programs, and promoting electrical safety awareness among tenants are essential for ensuring a safe and reliable electrical system. Staying informed about updates to electrical codes and regulations is crucial for maintaining compliance and adapting to evolving safety standards. This ongoing commitment to knowledge and best practices can help prevent costly mistakes and ensure the well-being of all occupants.